What's up, everybody? Welcome to the RotoWire Soccer Show. My name's Ryan, joined again by Mo to break down Wednesday's Champions League slate. But first, a little review of this Tuesday slate. We had a listener ship the main for $10K with a single bullet. So we got the lineup up here. First of all, Mo, how you doing? How'd your day go? Anything to get off your chest? Or
What's up, Ryan? So I actually wanted to hop on today, just talk about the slate, because I thought it was really interesting how it all shook out. I mean, the bottom line is we basically nailed it, right? I mean, we had all the right plays shouted out. John is clearly sharper than us. At least he was on Tuesday, because he sorted through all the stuff we said and picked out the right guys. But it's all there. I mean, I think we decided early on that Aktürkoğlu was a lock because he was going to have sets with Di Maria out. Unfortunately, he got subbed at the 58th minute, but he'd already done enough damage at that point to really be somebody you wanted. And then we always mentioned, I mentioned very clearly that Pavlidis was a danger man, right? Now, most of us got sucked into the world, and you have kind of my lineup over here. We got sucked into the world of, do I play Gnabry? Do I play Kane? That ended up being a bummer both ways, because Kane got subbed at half with that injury risk that we were worried about. And then Gnabry was the first sub, which we thought would happen, right? The play was, maybe he scores, maybe he assists, and he's worth enough points beforehand, kind of like Aktürkoğlu. So John went another way. He went with Pavlidis, who's been a reliable goal scorer, and it worked out for him, right? Then Zappacosta, you were talking all about him yesterday, right? You said he's going to take sets, he's going to attack. The script was perfect, and he dominated, right? And so, every single one of these plays we called out. It didn't work out for me, but I was glad to see someone get there.
yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. He just played the little three-man Benfica stack: Kerem, Pavlidis, and Kuchku. Two set takers, Zappacosta and Kimmich. I mean, no one played Zappacosta, and he dropped 31. Like John, I think his name is won comfortably by like 12 or 13 or something. Nobody had Zappacosta, and then Mignolet. So we called that one. That was a frustrating one for me. I was I'm a little over it now. I don't want to come on here and complain, but it just left a lot of money on the table today.
You were all over the Mignolet play. I mean, I remember we were talking about it yesterday, and I think you were between maybe Mignolet and, I don't know, maybe Schmeichel, or you were between him and another keeper. And, in my world, I was like, oh, no, I think I might want to go Monaco. I might want to go Atalanta. I foolishly went Atalanta.
I almost want to cry for what I did, because I just never do that. I swapped Mignolet, and my main line, the lineup that I made was Mignolet, and it left I could afford Ben Seguir at flex, and I ended up swapping to Neuer and a punt. I was like, I'll just be a little safer in the high stakes. Let me get my 10, 12 from Neuer, and Ben Seguir, that's a reach anyways. I figured that Lamine Camara would play 90 probably, and Ben Seguir might not have sets. But anyways, that lineup won the scissor kick. Fortunately, I kept it in there to break even on the day. But yeah, the lineup had Kane too. One with Kane. That was annoying too, Mo, because I remember I told you I was jamming Kane, and normally I'm not a Kane jammer. The last slate I played Kimmich and Olise. Normally I would just do the same here. I don't really know what got in my head, but that was unfortunate too. I mean, if you didn't play Kane today, you would have smashed too. Just playing Mignolet and fading Kane, pretty much everyone else got there. But yeah, a little bit of a missed opportunity, but survive in advance, I guess. Interesting slate for Wednesday here. Let's pull it up. PSG, biggest favorite on the slate, at home to Brest, 2.8 total. They beat them 3-0 in Brest last week. And then Madrid versus City, marquee matchup, this time in Madrid. heartbreaker for City last time out. They were winning, I think, up until the 90th minute or close to, and then 2 late goals from Madrid to snatch the win. And then PSV down 1 at home against Juventus. Lowest total in that game. But some interesting DFS pieces, cheap prices. What stood out for you on this slate, Mo? Just looking at the odds and the teams and the games.
Yeah, the biggest question for me is, well, it's not the biggest, but a big question I will say is, what do you do about PSG, right? Because in the first kind of window, this wasn't on the classic slate first time around, but you kind of knew what you wanted to do with respect to the game because you knew Dembele is going to have sets plus attacking. It's just a great situation for him. You kind of know that Hakimi has just been super involved in the attack and been great. Oh, I guess occasionally has sets. I don't know if he had sets in this game. Was it Vitinha or was it someone else who had sets in this one? You're muted, Ryan.
Sorry. I think it was Doué and Nuno Mendes, actually.
Huh, there you go.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. Go ahead.
I do remember Mendes having sets because I wanted to make sure to get him in just because I liked his attacking upside. And then the sets came in and I was like, oh, that's a nice bonus. So I remember that feeling.
Yeah, no, sorry, not Doué. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, I remember Doué. Yeah, okay, 2 for Nuno Mendes, 2 for Doué, 1 for Vitinha. Vitinha, that was a penalty. I believe Vitinha took a pen in that game. So, yeah, the PSG lineup will be important. If Kang starts, it'll be, close to a monopoly for Kang. If Kvaratskhelia starts, he didn't play in the last game. He would have priority over Doué and Vitinha. Don't think Dembele is going to take no matter what.
He hadn't taken in a while.
And then Nuno Mendes will rely on whether or not Kang is in because Kang is left-footed, and the reason that Mendes split is because he's the only left-footed player when Kang is not in.
Ryan, let me ask you this. Like, Kang aside, because I know the Kang narrative, right? Kang doesn't play much. If they decide to give him a run here, he'll go all out and they'll probably give him good minutes. But aside from Kang, how scared are you of the minutes issues, right? For a lot of these guys, because, if they get to the 60th minute and they're up 1-0, or even if it's 0-0, I mean, they're already in the driver's seat. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to be pretty worried. All their attackers are healthy, right? Sorry, don't have the slate up. Yeah, so like you got to be worried. Like Dembele, especially 11K, they're already up 3 goals. If they get a couple goals, that they can sub anyone. Yeah, that's definitely something I'm thinking about. Like, how worried am I? I don't know. Like, they all kind of get subbed anyways. Like, I still think, Dembele didn't start over the weekend. Came on and played, like, 20-some minutes. Like, I still feel like he's going to play. I don't know. I guess I'm not too worried, but it wouldn't shock you, I guess, if they – I don't know. Like, why start him if you're just going to sub him at half? I guess if he scores, if he scores, then they'll probably take him off. If not, like leave him on until he scores, sort of thing. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Bayern did it today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was tactical or injury related or what. I have to assume injury. That was pretty wild. I mean, he kind of missed. He missed like I don't want to say a sitter, but chance he usually makes right at the end of the first half too. Yeah, I don't know. For 11K though, I think you got to be like a little worried for Dembele. Right. 11K and no sets. I mean, is 1 goal even enough? You want him out there for 90 minutes for sure. But it's not going to surprise me if any of these guys get subbed.
Right. Yeah. So I think I have some concerns there, and then I think the other games are going to be very interesting. hard to know what to expect, right? I mean, last week we thought that it wasn't going to be a Vinny and Mbappe slate. And then, sure enough, end of that game, which City looked like they had control for the most part, they both get their goals, and it's a Vinny and Mbappe slate, right? We saw Marmoush get a hat trick over the weekend, chicken marm, as I like to call him. He is projected to start, and I think he will start, but is he going to dominate versus Real Madrid? It's a lot different than Newcastle, right? So that's going to be a tough question. And then I don't know if you saw, this was hilarious to me. There was a video, I think on Reddit or maybe Twitter, of Kolo Muani's assist versus Inter set to like opera music or something. Like it was just like so poetic, because it was a really pretty assist.
Filthy. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And so, he's just been balling out domestically. The one time I played him, he gave me like 2 points versus PSV, who, like, I get it. PSV aren't like pushovers, but I really thought at home he would do a bit more damage. And he looked like, respectfully, he just looked bad in that first leg, they just couldn't get anything going through him. So are we going to get that Kolo Muani? Or are we going to get a different Kolo Muani? I think there's a lot of different questions there. So interesting matchups all around, a lot of different ways you can go.
Yeah. Some cheap prices all around on Juventus. Yeah, it's tough. If you don't go Dembele, who do you choose from Madrid? They have, 3 different forwards. You mentioned Vinny got there last time, Mbappe got there last time, Jude got there last time. Everybody but Rodrigo, who we played, who like I think was more popular, or at least they're all about the same. But expensive forward might decide the slate, probably will, and it's pretty tough to know who to choose. But I don't think it's obvious, so that's kind of nice.
Right.
Let's get into forward. Yeah, Dembele, like we said, 11K. That's expensive for a guy that doesn't take sets and doesn't really have too much to play for. He's in the form of his life at the moment, so I can't really fault anybody for going there. I'm definitely considering it. Vinny is 10-4. Mbappe is 10-2. They were 12K and 11-8 on the last slate in Manchester. There could have been a lot of early goals in that game. Madrid came out and blitzed them, had a lot of good chances early. They could have been up a couple goals early. Not really sure how this one's going to go. I guess it depends who and when the first goal gets scored. But obviously, Vinny and Mbappe are fine in any format. Neither of them are a must in any format. Haaland at 9-8, definitely going to go overlooked here, but he was last week as well and was on the winner with a brace. So I think that's pretty good tournament play. Like, you should get 90 minutes out of him. City have to score at least 1 goal, 2 goals most likely. So that seems okay. Rodrigo, I think you could look to Rodrigo again, assuming Luka Modric doesn't start. Rodrigo will have the sets. I think Modric started over the weekend too, so he's not going to start here. They didn't start him against City last time. I just don't really see why they would. So Rodrigo on sets at 9,200. That seems decent. KK starts, best matchup, probably only going to get 60, 70-ish minutes, but splitting sets, that seems okay. Marmoush, definitely have some interest in Marmoush. City lineup's going to be important as well. I've seen De Bruyne in, De Bruyne out. They've been playing him in Champions League, but they basically played the best they've played in months against Newcastle over the weekend, and De Bruyne was not in that team. I could see them starting the same team. So who would it be in for? Who did I see? Doesn't matter. But yeah, keeping it like Marmoush with sets, maybe looks like the best forward to me, just based on form and City needing to chase. If KDB starts, I don't think we've seen them out there together yet. So I think people are assuming. I'd have to check, but I think people probably assume KDB sets. But I guess you never know. Even still, I'd be worried about like Chalk Marmoush if KDB started. Yeah, down the list, Doué, cheapest PSG player. If he's got sets, I think that's okay for 7,500. Meaning if Kang's not in, if Kang and KK both aren't in, then I would consider Doué. PSV guys, tournament options. Kind of don't mind Perisic. Juve, you might look to. They might have set piece takers on Juve. Douglas Luiz is out, so Yildiz would probably split with Coop Miners. Yildiz being the right-footed option. Yeah, Mo, what are you looking at forwards? Anyone jumping out? I mean, it doesn't seem too obvious. We're definitely going to need to see lineups.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. On Marmoush, I think it was the same lineup for the most part. I don't know if Nico Gonzalez played over the weekend or not, but I know it was the same minus KDB for Foden, right? And I think that Marmoush took over him. And so I don't know for sure if he would take over KDB, but I know there's been a lot of games where Foden has taken over KDB. So just kind of stacking, I think there's a good chance Marmoush keeps the sets role. I think that you kind of outlined like all of those guys are expensive, but all of those guys can go off, right? Mbappe, Vinny, Haaland, all of these guys have that upside. So I won't spend too much time there. On the cheap side, I think you kind of hinted at this already, but for Juve, Nico Gonzalez like quickly got up to 10 points and then unfortunately got hooked early in that game, 58th minute sub. And so, I mean, I think before the sub, he was well on track for a 15, maybe more point game. He had 3 shots on goal, so he was definitely kind of threatening as well. I think I'll have interest there. One thing I'll be interested to see for PSG, Doué played 90, KK played 90, Barcola played 74. So I don't know. Maybe Barcola is like, he's still young. 74 minutes might not be a big impact on him. But I do think some of the other guys, it would surprise me to see them play a heavy role in this game, having just played 90. Doué is young too, I get it, but it is a concern for me. So I think you're right in saying that there's no obvious directions here. Lots of good plays. My first build had me stacking City, which doesn't necessarily feel best when they're like away in Madrid, but my sense is, I mean, you can kind of see it in the goal odds, right? It's 3.75. That is going to be an up and down game. It's going to be where there's a lot of points. I didn't really feel that the midfield was doing much in that first game for either team. I would be surprised if it really changes and gets KG here. I don't think Madrid knows how to play KG. I think City has tried to play KG and it fails, and then they end up just having to go all out attack. And they're behind anyway, so I don't think they can start the game being KG if they wanted to. So that's where I have a lot of the interest early. I think I'll probably end up fitting either a cheap like a Savinho or a cheap Juve piece to kind of make it work. But otherwise, I think I'm going to have to go with someone like Marmoush or someone on the more expensive end.
Yeah, I should have mentioned Savinho. Forgot to mention Savinho. 6,700. He would even take a few sets in this lineup, I believe, without Foden in there. At least if they needed a left-footed option, which they usually use sometimes. I played Savinho on the last slate. He played really well. Not that great for DK, but I guess he did finish with 9 points still, but yeah, Savinho. I don't mind Mo. I don't mind playing that game at all. Whatever route you want to take. I mean, there's not a Kane, Kimmich, Olise, those type of like sure thing, or at least scary fades on this slate. Like, I mean, all these expensive guys are scary fades in the way, in their own way, but none of them are locks, and they're, I wouldn't say they have like massive floors on them either, the way that like a Kimmich or Olise types do. So yeah, they're just like, you can kind of do whatever you want it forward, I guess. Marmoush will look pretty good without KDB. I mean, he looks good even if KDB starts, but without KDB, he looked really good. The Juve guys, yeah, the subs were weird, right? Yildiz off at half and Gonzalez off at 58. That's pretty annoying. And they do have Chico Conceição, who's been playing well and who will come on.
He went off on the weekend too.
Yep. And they have that guy, that forward who scored a goal. I can't remember whose name on the last slate. He came on and scored. He came on, the guy who came on for Yildiz. He starts with an M. And then they have.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's like
they have Vlahovic too, who's like out of form but might come on. So I like the prices. Definitely worried about the subs. Let's see. Anything from Brest or PSV? Brest is going to be a no for me. I think for most people, I would assume for you as well. Cheap guys, I guess, if you want to take a chance on a Brest guy for tournaments. The PSV guys, kind of same thing. I mean, Mo, you might be surprised to hear this, because I mean, I even surprised myself, but just a little bit of interest in Perisic, just a little bit. I mean, I'm looking for he keeps playing 90 minutes for them. I just want the PSV guy, the PSV winger who's going to be out there, because they're chasing the game. They could be chasing all the game. Like if Juve scores, I mean, look what Zappacosta did today. Like that's the thing I'm looking for. And they have Luke de Jong, so their guys are in there to cross to Luke de Jong.
Yep.
So like if we used to like Bakayoko, they just don't play him anymore. But he used to kind of be that guy, and you could count on it. Not anymore. Noah Lang too, but Perisic, I don't know. I have some interest in tournaments.
It's a good point. Like his role in every team since he turned 30 is to just like literally whack it into the box at every opportunity. He, as a counterpoint, again, this is kind of like a game script thing. His points from last game were 16 with a goal, right? So depending on if you count the shot as floor points, it's either 4 or 6. I don't know that, he's creating that volume. I don't have like his Holland or Netherlands stats readily available. That being said, if you're chasing a game and you've got Perisic in the side, he will absolutely get up to 10 to 12 crosses, and then you'll be good, right?
So
I totally see the need of it.
Yeah. So this doesn't matter, but just what I saw, I just checked the game over the weekend, and they played against Utrecht. And they were chasing a bit in that game, but he went 90. He had 14 crosses, five shots, and 2 corners, even though Joey Veerman played 90 minutes. So just throwing that out there. I've checked some other games, and he hasn't taken any, but we've seen him take him at other spots. So don't be surprised to see 1 or 2. And I'm just seeing that in 6 straight starts, he's played 90 minutes every time. So that's the stuff I'm looking for. Anyways, on to midfield. Are there any midfield eligible guys? Yeah, Foden. I kind of think Foden's going to start. We don't have him in there. I don't think people would go there really, but it could be a pretty good play. It's the same, we like Marmoush, we like KDB, Savinho. You kind of got to like Foden too for the same reasons. He hasn't been in the greatest of form, but you can always do it. splitting set pieces, most likely. And then Kang for 83. That seems like a trap to me, but I guess you never know. I want to bring up, like, you would think the majority set piece taker for PSG would be a pretty good play, but I don't know, Mo. Do you have any interest in Kang if he starts? We see here 60. He went 63, 81. I mean, he usually goes around 60. Not a lot of double-digit games.
Yeah, Kang has trapped me on so many slates. I mean, I'm including interleague in this, but it's exactly as you said. It always looks like he's going to be a great play because he has stats. The team is dominating. You just figure he's going to get every corner opportunity. And then invariably, even if he's having a good game, 65 or 60th minute will roll around and he'll be subbed. The kid's talented. He just doesn't have the faith of Enrique over there. And so, if the game is kind of in a place where there's no risk, he could go 90. But I almost feel like it's a lock that he's like one or first or second sub for them. That's my feeling.
Yep, I think you're right. You're going to need a goal involvement with him at that price. And, he's done it in the past to see a brace here and some assists here where he can really put up a big score, but just hasn't been a lot recently. Again, though, good matchup. And I still don't think he would be that popular. So fine for tournaments. I think the popular guys here below them, KDB, 7,700. People will definitely look there. City chasing the game. Same with Veerman, 7,400. PSV chasing the game. Probably a monopoly of sets. Maybe our boy Perisic takes one, but usually it's a Veerman monopoly. 7,400 Mo, probably my first midfielder in. I'm not sure. That might be kind of a hot take. Do you see something else at midfield? I mean, do you like Veerman here? Do you want someone with more upside? I mean, how do you feel?
Yeah, I think I want to take the points and get some stability in the roster or in the team first. And Veerman's first in for me as well for that reason, right? I can't say the upside is sky high, but last slate without any assists or anything, he got comfortably to 14 points. He's been doing this pretty regularly in the Champions League. Yeah, with an assist, it was 18. With 2 assists, it was 25. He's just their guy. The way they play is whether it's Bakayoko banging shots or Perisic banging shots, they create corners, and then he gets there, not just with corners. I mean, there's only 3 last game, but he'll take the occasional shot, put in a cross on his own. He gets it done. So I have a lot of interest in Veerman. And then from there, is Rodrigo eligible on this slate? I think he is, right? So you've got some difficult decisions to make. Let me see, actually, make sure. Yeah, he's midfield eligible, but 9,200, so a little expensive. You got some difficult decisions to make on this, right? Coop Miners didn't start last game, and when he came on, he did very little. He's only 4,300, and Douglas Luiz is out, right? So the temptation is there. His main competition for that spot is injured, right? But again, we were concerned when this game was 0-0. I think my concerns are even more so when this game is Juventus in the lead, right? He's not a guy who's going to push the tempo if it doesn't need to be pushed. And so I have a little concern there, but the price is nice. Weston McKennie, if you really want to get wild, maybe go stars and scrubs. Weston McKennie had a fantastic goal last slate. It was like a perfectly hit volley to put Juve ahead. He's only 4,500. He is playing attacking midfield. You got to know what you're going to get, right? Again, in a game where they are probably trying to hold on to their lead, he's going to be defense first, right? But if he gets an opportunity, he might make something happen. So I think that's interesting as well. On the other side, You've already made the case for Perisic. We've talked about Veerman. I might have had some interest in Till, but it looks like they put his price at 5,800. So I'm not as interested at that price. From there, I really think that might be it for me. I'm trying to think. I don't really have any interest in the breast pieces. I don't know that there's any interest in the Real Madrid pieces either. So I don't know, Ryan. Are there any other places that we've not covered yet that are worth talking about?
Maybe Brest. First, yeah, Coop Miners. What is he? 4,300. Man,
Yep.
that's it's probably a locking cash just at that price. I think taking most of the sets. I agree with all the stuff that you said, though. Risky and hasn't shown a lot of upside for the most part and playing deeper. The selling point is one of him or Locatelli is going to play 90. Coop Miners did over the weekend. We can see he did here. Like, because they have Thuram, who's going to come on. He comes on for either one of them sometimes.
Right. That's right.
So Coop Miners at 90 would be a pretty good play for 4,300. You probably just play him in cash games no matter what, I would think. But yeah, if PSV haven't scored, they're probably not going to be a lot of sets for Juve. I think Coop Miners is a pretty good fade too, if you want to go that route. And then Brest, yeah. So in this lineup, it would be Favor, or however you say his name, splitting sets with Kenny Lala. Yeah, how much is he? The guy I had some interest in, we don't have him in our starting lineup, would be this Kamori Doumbia if he starts. Seems pretty decent. And over the weekend, he took 5 corners, had 5 shots, played attacking mid. We've seen
Favre is 42. He's 4,200. So
it's the same as Coop Miners.
Yeah.
But you can take chances on those guys though, right? Like they only need to beat the Coop Minerses of the world. And Weston McKennie, that was a good shout. Great, awesome goal from McKennie last week. He's always capable of that. He's been creating a ton of chances lately in that attacking role. And then I think that's everybody. Oh yeah. Mo, did you see that Bernardo Silva is 3,600?
No, I actually didn't see it.
Bernardo Silva is 3,600. So if you want your, you love your Conrad Limers and your Pavlovich or whoever those guys are. So Bernardo Silva can be that guy.
I guess that's what 0.1 in an up and down game versus Real Madrid will do for you. Get you down to the floor pricing. There's 2 guys I should just briefly mention. Magnetti or Magnetti, depending on what the proper pronunciation is. He was the one who split sets with Lala last week when they played against PSG, but he got subbed at the 64th minute, and he's pretty regularly subbed that early, right? And so, again, you have to wonder, Brest probably knows they're going to chase and they're going to come out attacking. So that works in your favor. But again, it's a limited pool of sets. And Lala does generally have a priority on sets in general. And then the last one that is worth mentioning is our boy Vitinha is on pens. And that was shocking to me when it happened. I looked at the record and it wasn't clear. Like I think Dembele had taken one in the cup or something, but Vitinha had definitely taken PKs before this season. So they're not gonna PSG aren't gonna lay an egg from the start. Most likely, they're probably gonna attack. There's another PK. Vitinha gets there. If there's sets, he has a minor role. It's not the same dominant role as before, but he does have an occasional role. And certainly if there's free kicks and so on, he still has a big role on those, even though if it's closer to goal, Dembele probably takes and so on. So 6,600, they are the better team by far. It's risky because of what we've said before, but you could go there.
Yeah, it's a better shout than I thought it was going to be actually. Um, Look at this game log, Mo. Talk about a guy who's never been subbed in his life. This is Joshua Kimmich, right? So like seriously, so like on these slates, I
Yeah.
want like most of the players are going to that you start are going to get subbed on this slate, and he's not probably not going to in a really good matchup.
Exactly, right? You only get 5 subs, right? So you probably see the whole front line getting subbed if you had to guess, right? I would think, if you're ever going to give Hakimi a break, it might be this game, right? And then someone like Doué, who often plays attacking, or Neves, who's also a big runner, I might give them a break, right? Whereas Vitinha, like you said, he's the metronome. The coach has decided he's going to play every minute. He's their Xavi. He's their Rodri, whatever, he's likely to stay on.
Yep. And then these Brest guys, just like the reason why they're all fine, and it's the same thing I said about the PSV guys, is because this Ajork that they have is like 6'8", and then Luke De Jong over here. So look at Kenny Lala's numbers. The reason he has these crosses is because they have a huge forward. So like that's just how they play, and they're just going to cross as much as possible. PSV, they cross a lot too. So like on these slates, definitely what I'm looking for.
Which is a good segue into defender. I'm gonna complain about Lala for a little bit. This is bad on me, but it is what it is. In that showdown versus Brest, I wanted to stack the PSG pieces. I thought it was going to be domination from start to finish. I thought, I know Lala's on stats, but I figure I think his price was like 5,200. I figure he's going to get very little, right? And definitely not. It was a 3-0 game, but he got 8 crosses, 3 sets. He dominates their set pieces, right? We already highlighted that sometimes he'll share with Magnetti, sometimes he'll share with Fabre. But I mean, this guy was taking corners, he was taking free kicks, and he was getting up, right? When they're chasing, he gets up. So at 4,200, you're going to have to make a pretty darn good case for some other defenders if you're going to fade him.
Yep. And I just want to say, be careful, because you see, he wasn't taking sets until recently, and now it's because Romain Del Castillo doesn't play, and like Doumbia didn't play that Champions League game either. I believe Del Castillo and Doumbia have right-footed priority. So like we can see in the league game over the weekend, Kenny Lala took 0 corners. Now he still put up 13 points. He still put in 8 crosses.
Yeah,
because that's what they do. But like, if this Doumbia probably takes like all of Kenny Lala's set pieces away for as long as he's on the pitch. So I would just keep that in mind. Still a good play though, because defender here, there's not a lot of good defenders on this slate. Really, there's the 2 PSV guys, Hakimi 6,100, probably just plug him in. Nuno Mendes for 55. If Kang doesn't start, may take priority. I mean, I wouldn't mind if somebody, I would like them both. Nuno Mendes with a few set pieces looks pretty good. Hakimi looks good no matter what. But, there's really no defenders you want to play from Madrid, really no defenders you want to play from City, really no defenders you want to play in the PSV Juve game. So it's really just the PSG guys and Kenny Lala for me. Like, is it that easy, Mo?
I do think it is. I will say I have a weekly bit, or whenever he's on a pod, I have to bring him up. Mendy almost scored. He was right there. I forgot who
we dodged a bullet.
He set I think Vinny set him up or something, but he had a shot on goal and it was a good one. And he is bottom barrel pricing. He is 2,600, right? So I mean, once he gets you to like 5 points, you kind of got what you need from Mendy, especially on a slate with a lot of really expensive plays. And those PSG guys aren't cheap either. Yeah, I think I can't say I'll be heavily tempted, but I'll have some temptation. Also worth mentioning, Gvardiol had an assist and finished around 12 points. His price has still remained at 4,300, and City need to chase this game, right? So you can see where he gets there, and you can see where he saves you some money. The flip side of that is the dude had an assist and only got 12 points, right? I mean, it's kind of a consistent knock on him. He might be one of the world's most talented fullbacks, but he still plays a bit like a center back. And if he isn't taking 30-yard bangers from outside of the box, or he isn't putting in, an occasional cross, he just doesn't do much, right? So I think, you've got a number of choices. Aside from Lala, I don't know if any of them really stand out for me. Hakimi for sure as well. I think he probably survives the storm. But I think you've got some good options to consider here. It's not as straightforward, I think, as yesterday, where it just seemed really obvious to us that, you wanted Chao Enrique and probably Stanisic.
Yeah, yep, that worked out pretty well today. Stanisic should have had an assist too, but still finished with 13. Yeah, I had one thing. No, I think Mendy. I looked up that Mendy shot. It was from 5 yards out. It was worth 0.46 xG, which is an enormous amount. So it was just like crazy that Mendy didn't score. But anyway, the bit lives on. Yeah, if Cambiasso used to be a good play and used to take some sets. I don't know. He's been injured and hasn't played in a while. I couldn't. Let's see. Yeah, hasn't. You couldn't expect more than 60 minutes and hasn't been taking corners, so he can't really do that. Yeah.
I also wanted to shout him out, so I'm glad you did, because he's a good player. He was linked with City, I think, in January, and then it was like injury plus like they didn't need him or they decided to go a different way. Very good player.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, goalkeeper. Donnarumma, 6K. Spending up did not work today at all. Spending up was awful today. Neuer busted. Atalanta's keeper busted. Yeah, they all did. Trubin as well. And then Mignolet dropped 26. It happens every slate. Kobel, 26. The slate, every slate, these underdog keepers. Is there a spot like that on this slate? The two spots where it could be, the first one is Di Gregorio for Juventus. That's the Mignolet spot for today. I mean, it's not the same because there's not as big of a gap between these two teams. But if PSV doesn't score and it keeps chasing, it's going to be a great spot for Di Gregorio. And the same for Thibaut Courtois, who is more expensive, but really good Courtois spot here with City, chasing the whole game unless they score early. So from a game script perspective, I think those are the top two keepers. What do you think about goalkeeper, Mo?
No, I actually think we're perfectly aligned today. I like Di Gregorio. Over the weekend, he got a plucky win versus Inter. He's in good form. He's just a generally quality keeper anyway. And then Courtois is in, his customary smash spot versus City. He's holding a narrow lead. He's going to face a bunch of shots. And, probably don't go there if you're going to stack City. But if you decide that you want to go elsewhere, I could see a lot of appeal in the Courtois spot. The last one I'll mention, and I don't really know that you need to go here, but if you enter multiple lineups or you want to get different in tournaments, I think Bizot or Bizot has an interesting setup, right? He's min-priced. I think it's 3,600. He's not a bad keeper. Brest are not a team that usually allow more than 1 or 2 goals. And, it's not inconceivable that they could get out of here with the W in a game that means nothing for PSG as long as the score stays, below, 3-0. I think that you'll see a lot of early subs, as we already mentioned, but these guys aren't going to see the Champions League for a while, I don't think. And so they're going to go all out. They're going to want to leave their mark. And it's not inconceivable they could get a result here.
Oh yeah, Bezo should definitely stay in the pool. Yeah, I think he could be on the winner, even conceding goals. I could see I still feel like he'll face the most shots on the slate a lot of times. Like I could see even PSG, they have a bunch of attackers to sub in. Like everyone's at home. Like PSG is going to want to style on them a bit, and that's how their players are too. Like they have new players ripping shots. Like like the slate today is sort of like the Kasper Schmeichel spot, who, even though he conceded, he would have been on the winner if it wasn't like a wild day from Mignolet. We've seen these 3-game slates too. Like it's, there might not be a clean sheet. Also have a little bit of interest in Ederson. I mean, now that he's that cheap, 4,200, facing guys that take shots in Mbappe and Vinny, and then for like a win clean sheet, have a little bit of interest in Benitez for, what is he, 4,900. Yeah, I don't know. I think all the keepers are.
Basically, you're telling us you have interest in all the keepers.
Yeah, I know you're, but probably not Donnarumma. Although like he's fine, and I think like it's even interesting to just play Donnarumma, Hakimi, and Nuno Mendes, and you play the best 2 defenders. PSG is the only team to keep a clean sheet. They had the expensive forwards, so yeah, they're all in play. I'm not prioritizing any of them.
But, yeah. One thing that's worth noting, I think, just briefly, I think I've talked about how good Pew is at his goalkeeper selection, and I've never actually spoken to him about how he goes about it. But if I had to theorize, I think it's that he targets save upside first, right? I don't think he looked at this slate necessarily and said, you know what, I'm going to play Mignolet because I know he's game for win bonus, PK save, 8 saves, right? I think he focused on the saves part, and he was like, everything else will be upside. And I think sometimes it's good to think about that in these kind of slates for the same reason, right? Like, look, Benitez could get there, Donnarumma could get there, but if you think about it, right, like Ederson, De Gregorio, and Bizot are in these spots where they are likely going to face high volume shots, and they could grab you a win in addition to that and kind of enter that smash territory, right? Where basically today, if you didn't have Mignolet or Schmeichel, you were out, right? If you were like me and you played Carnesci, you ended up with -4 and you were immediately out of contention for any of the high stakes, right?
Yeah, great point. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to say you got to.
No, I agree with you 100%. Like Pew's mastered that. I mean, that's usually the best way to play. It's about like having the balls to do it. At least for me, a lot of times I said that even at the start of the pod. When I'm playing my best, though, that's what I try. Like you give yourself another out. You give yourself another way of scoring points, and the expensive keepers can never do it. I mean, talk about it even in Showdown all the time. Like if you're going to play the underdog keeper or not, because they actually have more upside than anyone else on their team. But yeah, no, couldn't agree more. Great point. We see the top players playing these cheap keepers. I mean, you have another player there that can score points. And it's just like, yeah, when you're not on it, it's the biggest nightmare. And in these Champions League, in these any slate with 2 legs or any game with 2 legs, you can predict that more.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, great stuff. Anything else? I don't really know what else we could say. Just like random tournament stuff, but I think it was a pretty good breakdown.
Yeah, I think we've given away the keys to another 5K win. Or I guess it's not 10K on this day, it's 5K. You just got to figure out which of the plays that we touted are the ones that are going to hit. So just go out there, do it just like John, and congrats on your money once you do.
Yeah, I don't think we really. I think we mentioned everybody. Yeah, everyone relevant at least. Yeah, I just wanted to say that Tim Weah at right back last game was unplayable for PSV. I mean, he was amazing for like everything went through him. He was unstoppable. It just something I noticed. Like they should have scored more goals. Like anyway.
And actually, on that point, it's been like that for a while. I mean, his right back role is kind of fascinating in that he kind of has free reign to kind of just terrorize down there. I don't actually know how much he gets back. I'm sure he does, but really, it's the pace and the attacking threat that it carries that makes him so dangerous. And so, is it going to translate to DFS success every time? Hard to say, but he's really darn good.
Yeah, no, it was just great to see, especially just a US guy, it's like an Adama Traore type out there. Just like you can't go. The left back just have no chance. He got to the end line every time. Same, even like we saw Diatta doing similar things today. Similar type of not like a winger that's playing right back. But anyways,
3.1 Diatta.
Sorry for the tangent. 3.1 Mo. I don't know if you saw it too. He had a point blank. He should have scored. He should have scored right away. And then he also should have had an assist after that. But yeah, he should have scored a goal. I saw that too, and I was like, oh man. A couple guys that I punted instead, like, I took a chance on some Benfica guys. I played Arsenis even on a lineup, and that Kent Martins. And then I see Diatta. He just
dominated.
That was the punt. That was clearly the best punt. If you watch the games.
Yeah, I am kind of glad I didn't go there because I just feel like it was another one of those slates where the reason I didn't necessarily end up on a Mignolet or whoever, because I was like, do I really need that? I can get the savings elsewhere,
Yeah, that's what I said in the end. Like, did I really need it? Like, to be able to play a 6K-ish guy instead of like a 4K-ish, and right. The answer ended up being yes. I shouldn't have been a pussy, but happens sometimes. Anyways,
let's highlight, like to close us out. Let's highlight economic. Yeah, there we go.
Economic prepper knows. I mean, always blame Jack when in doubt.
I mean, exactly. I couldn't say it better. If there's anyone at fault for the reason why we picked the wrong keepers and the wrong value plays, it's Jack. So, just know that it isn't a skill issue. It's not you. At the end of the day, it's all Jack's fault.
Yep. All right. That'll do it for the pod. We will be back on, or at least I will be back on Friday for an EPL pod, assuming there's games on Saturday. I'm pretty sure there is. But yeah, rotowire.com/soccer trial. We'll be in the Discord. Got the cheat sheets up. Like Mo said, somebody won 10K today with a single bullet. Maybe we can get somebody to win 5K tomorrow. Only if it's not me and Mo, or else you guys have to finish second to us. But if not, yeah. Good luck, everybody. Thanks, Mo.
Good luck, y'all.